In today's video, we're going to talk about Aston Villa 2, Tottenham 0 and Chelsea 1, Manchester United 0. But before we talk about both of those games, starting with Villa, then Chelsea, let's have a look at this race for top 5 Champions League football. Because Arsenal, if they lose their next 2 games to Newcastle and Southampton probably being unlikely, they might not get Champions League football. As of now, this Villa, Chelsea, Newcastle, Arsenal, Liverpool will get Champions League football. But if Manchester City win their game in hand, they will then push Villa into 6th, which puts Villa in a place for Europa League football. Now, I am going to say Chelsea have got Nottingham Forest. That is a huge game. Nottingham Forest will have to win, particularly if they're pushing for Europe, even though they've dropped off. Manchester City, they've got the FA Cup. They're going to be tired on Tuesday. They're playing Bournemouth. That's a difficult game. Arsenal, Newcastle, there's a strong possibility one of them drops points. So that puts Villa in a good position coming up against the Manchester United side that haven't won in 2 months. Manchester United haven't won back-to-back games at all this season, and we'll have that Europa League hangover. I mean, I can't wait till the Premier League season is over as a Manchester United fan, but it's going to be big, and I want Villa to do it because Marcus Rashford's at Villa, and as a Manchester United fan, I want Villa to do it, but I don't want Chelsea to do it because Chelsea with Champions League football means that Chelsea in the transfer window will be... Chelsea are good in the transfer window. Chelsea with Champions League football in the transfer window, they're going to beat you to all your targets. So let's start with the Aston Villa game, and then we're going to talk about the Chelsea game. Now, first of all, Ian Maatsen impressed me today, and I think he's looked a lot better this second half of the season. I think there's defensive vulnerabilities there, but I do think he's massively improved for Villa this second half of the season. Amadou Onana has had issues with fitness, but I think he's been very good. Kamara, one of the best midfielders in the league. I don't even think it was Morgan Rogers' best game today, but he got an assist, he did his business, all of that. McGinn started quite well. Asensio was very heavily involved. Good game for him. Konsa, excellent at the back. Having one of the most underrated seasons. So let's talk about Villa and their season. Aston Villa are 18 games unbeaten at home. They lost the first game of the season to Arsenal at home, but other than that, they're unbeaten. And when they lost to Arsenal, it wasn't like they were dominated by Arsenal. There was an element of unluck there. Arsenal just had that quality to get the win. 18 games unbeaten at home. That's an incredible record. Incredible record. No team has done the double over Villa this season. I think Newcastle and Man United did do the double over Villa last season. 32 wins in all competitions, which is a club record. And if they beat Manchester United, they'll finish on 69 points. 69 points last season would have got you UCL football. So even though last season you got UCL football and this season you might be in the Europa League, I think the Premier League is more difficult this season. I know City and Arsenal have dropped off and people are saying it's easier for Liverpool, but I did a video saying that actually I think people are underestimating Liverpool's title win. And I was saying that as a Manchester United fan because I said you don't understand how good Bournemouth are, how good Brentford are. Newcastle are unreal this season. Forest have been unreal this season. The quality of the mid-table sides is unreal. 3 seasons ago, Man United and Tottenham would be this shite, but they'd be in 8th place. 3 seasons ago, Man United Tottenham would be this crap, but they'd be in 8th place and there would be a Leicester or a West Ham above them in the top 6. But because all the other teams have improved, Manchester United and Tottenham are literally 16th and 17th. And it's difficult for Villa. But I think if Villa, finish 6th and they get Europa League football, it's still an incredible season. They would have got Champions League football, they're going to be like 1 point off it. It is out of their hands if everybody else wins. But all they've got to do is beat Manchester United, which isn't going to be hard for you guys. And I think Unai Emery deserves credit for that. And I think what you did in January, I think Rashford being out is a big blow for you. But it's been important, the January window, the investment, because I think this second half, you've gone on some incredible runs, played some incredible football. And I think one thing you've got that is special is that midfield. I think Tielemans being injured is a big blow. But Kamara, he's one of the best DMs of football. He plays for a big 6 club. He'd get more credit. I know he's been injured this season. He is an excellent player. Fantastic goal. Tielemans being out, I know. But that's a bit of a blow. But I thought Onana was fantastic. I thought that was one of Onana's best games. And I think Onana struggled with fitness and all of that, but he's shown what he can bring. 91% pass accuracy, 100% tackles won, 10 final third passes, 6 defensive actions, 6 duels won. He is an absolute monster in midfield. He can body anyone. He can cover the ground. He is an excellent player. And I think Kamara, Onana, Tielemans, and the young player that's going to be coming back to Villa next season is incredible. Incredible midfield depth. I think if you can get Rashford on a permanent, I think Leon Bailey will go. Probably need a right back in, maybe another attacker. If Watkins goes, particularly a striker, you'll be looking at. But Villa have a good side. Asensio was good, McGinn was good. You've got decent players like Jacob Ramsey that can play as well. Villa have got some very good players. Morgan Rogers this season has 18 goal contributions in the league. As you can see on my screen, that is equal with Vinny in La Liga. And considering what Anthony's doing in La Liga, I feel we can all agree Premier League, La Liga, is a difficult league. Villa is third Villa player in 14 years with 10 plus Premier League assists. The others being Watkins and Grealish. Maatsen looking good. I don't know if Rodgers would stand out today, actually. I think I meant to put McGinn in there. But Onana and Maatsen had a very good game. Konsa's been very solid lately as well. And Villa's squad looks balanced. There's depth, there's youth. They just need a couple extras in. I think you did well in the Champions League. I think had Unai Emery kept Rashford on, you maybe would have scored another goal as well. I think you got a good side. I do think that could be Leon Bailey's last home game. This time last year, I was talking about Leon Bailey as one of the most underrated players in the Premier League because I thought his 23-24 season was good, but I think he's been very poor this season for Villa. So continuing on, before I get into Chelsea, this is the third Premier League win and third clean sheet in a row for Aston Villa. Emily Martin has looked emotional. He could be leaving Aston Villa. I think Villa, they started not great. I thought Tottenham played quite well in the first half. Considering how much Tottenham rotated, I thought Villa would have done a bit better in the first half. But I think almost because Tottenham rotated so much and they so just didn't care and they so weren't up for it, it almost made it harder for Aston Villa in that sense because of Tottenham's rotation. I thought that, the setup from Villa was controlled. I think I always felt that Villa were going to win the game. But Tottenham had moments where they looked all right. But I think the quality of Villa went through in the second half. And the second half was really good from Villa. The first half, I don't think was the best. But I think Tottenham frustrated them. And Tottenham, attack had some moments. But yeah, let's go into Chelsea. As a Man United fan, I actually thought Man United were quite good the first 60 minutes, and I thought we could win this. And I think Villa and Newcastle fans were all hoping Man United could win this. But the thing about Man United is when you've got Rasmus Højlund up top and Andre Onana in goal, you can play well, but you ain't going to win games. And I wouldn't say that we played well, but I thought Man United were better than Chelsea for a good 60 minutes of that match. Chelsea did not show up. Man United looked like they wanted it more. But it was Manchester United versus Moises Caicedo. Moises Caicedo was absolutely everywhere. It was Man United versus Moises Caicedo today. I thought Reece James, moment of brilliance as well for the assist. Tosin and Colwell bullied Højlund, but doesn't seem hard. Cucurella did really well because Ahmad's a good player and he dealt with him well. So let's talk about the Chelsea game. Caicedo, man of the match. Caicedo ran the entire midfield. He absolutely ran the midfield. He was everywhere. It wasn't Man United versus Chelsea. Most of Chelsea didn't show up. It was Manchester United versus Caicedo. How Declan Rice was nominated for Player of the Season and not Caicedo or Sandro Tonali or McAllister shocks me. Tielemans has been better than Declan Rice this season. Bruno Fernandes has had a better season than Declan Rice. And Manchester United are 16th. Caicedo has had a better season than Declan Rice. Tonali has had a better season than Declan Rice. And McAllister has been the best midfielder in the Premier League this season. Declan Rice is in the nominees because of a free kick versus Real Madrid. Caicedo should have been in those nominees. He should have been up there. He's been ridiculous. Manchester United had control, but they had no threat. Chelsea also had very little threat. Tyreek George didn't notice him. Madueke missed every chance he had. Neto tried to make things happen. Chelsea obviously need a striker. They obviously need a Victor Osimhen. But Cucurella showed up again. Shut down Ahmad. Good on the ball. Good goal. Cucurella and Caicedo have shown up for Chelsea in these final few games of the season as they go for Champions League. I thought they looked better, when certain players came on the pitch. I've always said Chelsea are a better team with Lavia on the pitch. Maybe he could have come on early. I think Chelsea had those nerves. And Tosin and Colwell bullied Højlund. They did well. Reece James did well. But Chelsea looked nervy. And they can't do that versus Forest because Forest are a better side than United. And Chris Wood, unlike Højlund, will punish Chelsea for that. I thought United showed up hungrier. If I'm going to be honest, in Chelsea, I thought United showed up like the side looking for top 4 and Chelsea looked like the side in 16th. But I thought the second half, Chelsea's quality came through. And the minute Manchester United made the subs and Bruno Fernandes was off, it was Chelsea. You knew Man United weren't going to do anything the minute Bruno came off. Madueke was wasteful. Sancho's creativity was missed. I think Chelsea will buy Sancho for 25 million because he's better than Madueke and he's better than Neto. Chelsea missed a focal point to striker. Jackson was a miss, but I still think you need a player like Osimhen that can get on the end of those crosses. Palmer grew into the game. I know Palmer didn't get goals today, but I thought he grew. I thought he improved. Colwell and Reece James definitely showed leadership. They stepped up when needed. I thought Colwell was fantastic. Tosin was bullying Højlund. It's not hard though, but Colwell had to deal with Ahmad on his side and did well. Lavia maybe could have come on earlier. I think Maresca ball doesn't look exciting, and Maresca is very late to make subs. That would be my criticism of him. But I think Chelsea have Champions League football in their hand, but they're going to need a few new signings. And Maresca's definitely got to do a bit more. Beat Forest, they've got UCL football. It's in their hands. They need a Victor Osimhen. Maybe with the funds from UCL football, they could afford its wages. But I feel like Chelsea, these last few games of the season, have been very over-reliant on Caicedo, very over-reliant on Cucurella, getting them over the line. Reece James staying fit is obviously very important. Cole Palmer did have a good game today. Enzo stepped up in the past, but I don't think it was his best game today. But Chelsea weren't great, and they made it harder than it should have been, considering Manchester United are crap. Although Man United did start their best team, Tottenham started their worst team. Well, not worst team, but Tottenham started only Son that's going to start in the final. Was Manchester United potentially started their starting 11 in the final? Although if I'm Man United, I'm starting Maino up top over Højlund. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.